Hey guys, welcome back. BDC Gear here. We're back with our Q&A. This is Season 3, Episode 3. Happy 4th of July to anybody in America who's watching this.
And happy 3 days after Canada Day for anybody who's in Canada.
And happy however many days after that it is for anybody who's who's watching this not on the day that it goes up, which is fair because it's going to go up late-ish. Our first question comes from Lloyd Banks, and they say, thanks. I don't have a 4-star right now. My main team right now is Unbreakable Cyborg 3-star, Batman 3-star, and in my 3rd slot I switched Dr. Fate 2-star and Joker 2-star, and I need a little more to unlock Armored Soups. That is when I will actually start grinding more to wrap up the game. I like very much that it is not as easy as Injustice 1. The challenge is great, but I think when I finish the story I'm not going to visit again. Unlike Injustice 1. See ya.
Yeah, thanks, Lloyd. We're actually enjoying a lot of the questions that you're sending our way and making it easier for us to do some of these Q&A videos.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for your question, though, I think you're going to be a little unpleasantly surprised when you finally unlock Armored Superman. So, here's the thing. Based on his description of stats, he definitely looks really good. But when you get him, he's only going to be 4 stars. And given how long it's taking to unlock him, at least for us, getting enough shards for 5 stars, which is more than what it would take to just unlock them in the first place. It seems like it's going to be the better part of a year of really dedicated, I want to say playing, it's really just grinding. Alright, so as an example, on our account, we're 23 shards away from unlocking him at 4 stars, and our account is level 46, so it could be another 4 levels, and if that's 3 days per level, we're about 2 weeks away from another 5 shards. Max hero level right now for us is 51, so another 4 weeks maybe away from getting another 5 shards or getting our account to level 55, or no, getting the hero up to 55.
Yeah.
And that's another estimate based on maxing out the resource missions, like spending gems. I wanted to say souls, spending gems to reload them every day, like the 3 replays that you get. And so that's another estimate based on getting about 1 level per week, but that might actually be slower than that because as we get higher, the amount of experience you need is increasing.
Yeah.
And we're 50 daily objectives away from 600 for another 5 shards, so that's 15 shards, and we're still not at the 23 we need. And so we're going to need to make up the next 10 shards in operations, so 5 shards for every 100 operations. And that's just to get the 4-star guy.
Yeah, and theoretically, if we did maximum number of lowest level operations for like an entire day without missing ever more than like a minute or 2, we could get like one just about every other day. We could get 2 sets of 5 shards every 3 days, but that's still like an insane amount of...
That's crazy playing.
Yeah,
crazy grinding.
That's really just going back over and over and over again, like every half hour pretty much.
Yeah. So actually, we're going to talk about the progress that we're making. We got to give it some context, right? So after shamefully large infusion of paid content, we've been working with a few 5-star golds, so Mythic Wonder Woman, Emerald Green Lantern, Arkham Batman, Blade Master Robin, and Horrific Scarecrow. And we've been doing that for the last, I want to say a month, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah. And
we aren't even close to finishing. We finished the 7th page on normal, and there's the 8th page left, and we're only on the last ladder of the 6th page in heroic mode. So without our super team of Arkham Batman, Dr. Fate, and Horrific Scarecrow, because Dr. Fate and Horrific Scarecrow have great passives. What you're doing is you're giving yourself a huge special advantage. Dr. Fate, because specials are 2 bars cheaper.
Yeah.
Horrific Scarecrow, because their specials, the opponent's specials, are 2 bars more expensive. And Arkham Batman, who's got a great stun at the end of Special 2. We can take on much tougher teams.
Yeah.
So, and we've completed either the highest or second to highest level in each resource mission, and we're paying gems to redo the resource missions as many times a day as possible, and we're still grinding to get our team strong enough to get past where we're stuck right now on the campaign.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a good goal to set to not come back after the campaign, but with how hard this game is compared to Injustice 1, and I guess hard isn't the right word, how grindy it is, that is almost as daunting a task as it was to like max out your collection when the glitches were still easily usable. Maybe even harder actually, because when the glitches were really in full form, you could grab like pretty much any pack stuff.
Yeah, that's
for
true.
Nothing. But yeah, so it's an insane amount.
Well, that's a nice segue actually into the next question.
This one comes from Nicky Xiao, And they say, for Injustice 2, there's a glitch where you can reset the daily events using time zones.
Okay, so this is a difficulty I think I have. I don't know about you. We haven't talked about this, but the glitches that people will post. So we've made it a habit, really, only to recommend and describe glitches that are useful.
Yeah.
And to Nicky, actually, if you're talking about the same glitch that we're aware of, setting your clock into another time zone that's a day ahead, it'll do something, but it doesn't actually help you.
Yeah, because you get the next day's daily objectives early, but they don't come out of nothing. Each day only has one set of daily objectives, so doing them early means you don't get to do them later, which means that like you can't reset your time back and then forward again. You can't essentially farm daily objective sets.
Right, so basically, in a year, there's 365 days, except the leap year, and you get 365 daily objectives. And if you trigger one early by switching time zones, you just use it early. You don't. It's not any extra.
It's like how discount gold packs are for Injustice 1.
Oh yeah, that's
right?
Perfect.
When you go forward, you can get them ahead of time, but you're not gonna like get them back later, so you can still only get them once. So theoretically, it might be useful if you really want to do a bunch of playing all at once, but it's not generally useful enough.
Yeah, that's actually a perfect. That's a perfect analogy for our audience, I think.
Yeah. And so our next question comes from the_Archer1202, and they say, so I guess by the title, Injustice 2 is on the brain.
So guess was actually the hardest in the title. You know, what was it?
Injustice 2, Injustice
grinding,
2, and Injustice 2.
Oh yeah, grinding, glitches, and guesses was the 3 Gs. Yeah, it's on our brain, I guess, a little bit, but mainly it's been on the comments. I guess we never talked about this explicitly, and some people have seemed a little confused in the comments, so maybe we'll just say it. We get our questions from the comments.
Yeah.
So something interesting, or something quick, we usually just answer, but there's something interesting that's worth maybe having a chat about. That's what we make this video out of.
Yeah, and I think the reason is there's not as much stuff going on in Injustice 1 right now, and Injustice 2 is not only very, very related to what we're doing here with Injustice 1, it's directly tied to it, right? Because how well Injustice 2 turns out, and what they do with that is going to influence what happens to Injustice 1.
Sure. Yeah.
So talking about it is important because there's a chance that some of the features and some of the changes are indicative of what they plan on as far as game design now, which might trickle into Injustice 1 in the future, or depending on how it works out, Injustice 2 might be the successor to Injustice 1, and if they provide less support for it, really it's Injustice 2 or nothing for people who want this kind of experience, because everything else, all the other games are pretty dead at this point.
Yeah.
So there we go. Our next question comes from Ashwin Cowsik, and they say, been liking the videos. You do. I have 2 questions. 1, what app do you guys use for recording gameplay? I personally use AZ Screen Recorder, which I think is the best app for Android. And 2, why do you guys say Kimota at the end of all your videos? Any specific reason behind it? Keep up the good work.
So the first question is a little interesting. So I took a look in the Play Store, and AZ, we're Canadian. AZ Recorder does look pretty good, but I also looked through the comments and saw this from the developer. It says, hi, Google doesn't allow to record system internal audio for some security reasons. If we violate it, AZ Screen Recorder will be removed from Google Play. Therefore, AZ Screen Recorder only supports recording sound via microphone. So the reason why that's interesting is the system audio, being able to record from the device, not from the mic, is actually what makes SCR Screen Recorder the best for us.
Yeah.
And now that I've actually seen this, that's probably a big reason why it was removed from the Play Store. So just as a sort of behind the curtain kind of revelation about how we do stuff, what I would do is I always keep an Android button in the headphone jack so it keeps the sound off, and I can play Injustice and record almost anywhere without, disturbing others. But I can still get audio from the gameplay because it's still, the system's putting it out still, and there isn't a whole bunch of background noise from wherever I'm playing.
Yeah, and so that kind of workflow is what is part of what makes this channel more viable as a kind of hobbyist thing, because you can literally do it anywhere, right? Like in a crowded room, you could almost do it like at a restaurant if you needed to. Like literally, there's almost no limitations except where you can physically play the game.
At a wedding.
Yeah. But so that's kind of necessary, and we know people might not care as much as we would care, but personally for me, having the in-game audio for our videos is really important,
Right.
because even though we never listen to the in-game audio when we play, it feels like that's part of the experience that if you can have, there's no reason that you wouldn't want to have it, right?
Right.
And have it as part of the video.
And actually, I should mention Ashwin Cowsik is also acowsik, who used to be one of the mods on the official Warner Brother forums, the boards for these mobile games, and he did a lot of good work on Mortal Kombat X mobile, and it was really useful while we're still playing. So if I can find the link to it, I'll try to add that in the description, and check it out if you're still playing MKX.
Yeah.
Oh, and so revisiting the second question is something that we've actually answered a
Yeah,
while ago.
we've answered it in a different video. It's a little bit of an Easter egg.
But it's been so long since we've done it, I thought maybe it would be worth coming back to it a little bit.
Yeah. So it's a reference that's tangentially related to the channel. It's related to comic books. Even though it's not related to any comic book characters from here in particular, it's kind of related to a character that we're fighting right now, actually.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So Miracle Man is the comic book that we would have seen in North America. It was originally Marvel Man in the UK until they ran into trademark issues with Marvel Comics. Brilliant comic book that first showed up in Warrior magazine, drawn by Alan Moore. Original artist was Gary Leach, and I think Alan Davis took it over for a little bit after Gary Leach had to leave because he had trouble keeping up with the schedule.
Yeah, so the reason why we say Kimota is because we don't enunciate properly. It's but the reason why we try to say Kimota, which is Kimota, is because that's what Miracle Man says as he changes. It's
his magic word.
Yeah, it's atomic spelled backwards with a K at the end/beginning. And so we picked it one time out of nothing because a lot of YouTubers have a sign off, and I said, hey, wouldn't it be kind of funny if we said Kimota at the end, because it's related to a comic book thing, and it's also his changing word. So it's us changing from YouTubers to
normal people
sitting in front of a microphone. So we did it once, and we liked it, and it stuck, and also because most people don't actually either know the context or associate it with our videos, it's kind of our thing now, even though we totally just ripped it from something else.
Yeah, Alan Moore, I want to say too, is absolutely brilliant. I think he's been responsible for some of the best comic books that have been written, period. And not just, the big event comic books, but I remember Saga of the Swamp Thing. When I first read that, totally blew me away. And I think we did a review not too long ago, maybe it was a long time ago, of the Miracle Man comic books in one of our videos too.
Yeah, so that's why we say it at the end of our videos. And that's kind of what it is. The reason why we actually say it is the worst part about it, is we decided to one time and then we kept doing it. What it actually is much more interesting than why we do it, because we don't have a great reason. It's a sign-off. It's something that works.
But if you haven't read Miracle Man, you should. It's actually back in print in the last few years after being tied up in a lot of litigation.
Yeah. So there we go. But that's the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. And we'll see you next time. Kimota.